Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It is me, your girl, Goddess of Love and Truth Reacts, coming to you with another reaction video upload. This one is a little sad. Not a little sad, it's a lot sad, but I bring you guys the news, not just skits from Country Wayne. In this reaction video, we're going to react to this preliminary hearing that just took place over the last few days with this man named Jarvis Butts and this 12-year-old young lady, Naziah Harris. She would have been 13 today. So it is under the assumption that he allegedly unalived her and he SA'd her. It's not allegedly about the SA. The unaliving, the reason I say that is because to this day, they have not found a body. And this poor girl has been missing since January 9th, 2024. Last time she was seen was getting off of her school bus on January 9th, 2024. This happened in Detroit, in Wayne County. And the judge decided on January 9th that he is going to trial. So after they did the preliminary hearing, they decided that he is going to trial. Not only is he accused of unaliving her and SAing her, he's also been charged with SAing two other girls in separate cases. So he have other cases as well. She was pregnant. They have proof through the text messages. They have ongoing text messages between Naziah as well as Jarvis. His last name is fitting because he is definitely a butt. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. I'm going to let you hear everything that the judge had to say. This is after she listened to testimonies over the 4 days, and then on the 5th day she decided that he will stand trial. So let's get into it, you guys. One moment, let me pull up that video here. And I'm sorry, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, click the bell notification for all so that you never miss an upload. Like the video and share the video as well. I wasn't even on that time. I just want y'all to hear this story, but I do need to say that. Okay, one moment. Let me start the video here.
As far as Fisher, I agree with the people that this case is distinguishable. This is a case regarding a trial. And the one thing I had highlighted in pink is the quote, in this case there was no physical evidence such as bloodstains or a weapon leading defendant to Joyce's death. In this case, we don't have the same facts or circumstances. I do agree this is a circumstantial case, and circumstantial evidence is sufficient for a bind over and even conviction. Today is January 9th, 2025, exactly 1 year, from the day Naziah Harris disappeared. Before I get into the charges, in the main charge of premeditated first-degree murder, I have to speak on Naziah Harris and the community who failed her. And I am only presented with certain evidence. I don't know the whole story. The attorneys know more than me. The family knows more than me. But from what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is. I don't have any mention of him in her life. No presence. To Cordell, aka King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including Naziah, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up his shop. The school counselor who never showed up, or the person who was supposed to show up if that counselor was absent, after Naziah was on the floor on the day she went missing, saying that she needs to speak to someone and speak to a counselor. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was, or over the years because this was not just a one-year thing. There are text messages at least from 2022. To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable. I understand why the people put her on the stand to establish Naziah's residence and the houses on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that Naziah was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid. I do believe she adopted Naziah. I do believe that she had 6 kids in the house. I believe that Naziah had on a dark hoodie the day she went missing, and that she had on red and black Nikes that day. What is hard to believe is that the defendant never came into the house as she testified. And there was also a minor that testified that he did as well. Text messages that showed between him and Naziah that he did. In the basement, saying he was going to the shower, stealing her panties. He was always lurking around that house and asking for Janiyah and Zaniyah, from what I know. I even thought about the breakfast routine and saying that all the kids like eating breakfast at school. Did they have a choice? I don't know. But to always send those girls up there to clean up the shop raises questions. And how were there 2 women in that house who had birthed the children themselves who did not notice that Naziah was pregnant, and I believe she was, and not having her period anymore? But then after hearing text messages today, begging Jarvis for pads as if she didn't have anyone else to give them for her. And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand, and she learned around 6 p.m. that Naziah did not come home from school, and said she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear, without emotion, or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from Naziah going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for Naziah, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police. A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either. They were both able to go to sleep at night without hearing from Naziah or having any indication that she was coming home that night. And of course, the defendant, who I will get to in a minute. I don't know who else failed Naziah, but the community did.
Yes, they did.
As far as the people establishing probable cause, I will focus on count 1, as it's been stated that there is no contention with counts 2 and 3. In count 3, I will amend based off of the motion and the testimony I heard that Naziah was 12 and not 13 at the time that Jarvis Butts had sexual intercourse with her. The prosecution is correct. You do not have to have a body to establish first-degree premeditated murder. It would have been a much shorter exam had her body been found, but this is where we are. In the last 365 days, no text messages. We all heard today and yesterday that she was very active and frequently texted. No social media for a year. We heard through testimony that she was also active on social media. No phone calls, which she was also able to do according to testimony. No physical sighting of her by anyone. She never came back to school. No one has seen her. Medical records dated from July 2014 to October 2023 indicated that she had no life-threatening medical issues that would lead to a natural cause of death. The black hoodie found in the area of 7 Muhlenberg with her DNA and blood on it. The holes in the hoodie consistent with some sort of struggle, violence, or weapon being used. And we know that there were no holes in that hoodie when she wore to school. We saw a picture of her in a black hoodie on her last day that everyone saw her. I do believe her grandma testified truthfully about the sweatshirt that she had on and that was practically new. And the border agent who said that no evidence of animals would have destroyed the clothing or the shoes to possibly lead to animals tearing up that hoodie. The clear glasses found in the blue Nissan the day after she went missing. The behavior of the defendant when he snatched those glasses. They looked exactly like the glasses she had on in her last picture, according to the witness. The shoes that her brother described as the same shoes that were found also in the area of 7 Mountain Bird near the hoodie. While this is still probable cause, the evidence all points to Jarvis Butts. His locations, him being seen with her last, the abortion searches, the abrupt silence between the two of them in text messages, and the constant lies he told throughout the entire investigation. And they were proven to be lies with text messages and other testimony. We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on Isaiah and went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up. As much as I want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she's dead and that she was murdered by Jarvis Butts. Mr. Butts, stand up. You've been sitting over there for 4 days with your head down, hidden between and behind your attorney, with your mask on, and taking vigorous notes. I want you to pay attention and listen to everything I have to say. I have been trying to figure out for the last 5 days, you. At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning of this exam. And then maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old, and that's why you were doing such things. But as I heard more and more testimony, you're just a true definition of a pedophile. Watching you laugh and brag about all the women you have with different women and the children and the girlfriends, and making babies to groom them, and having them in your presence, cleaning up your shop, and the little girls around you, has landed you here today. You groomed Isaiah. You played mind games with her. We all heard that. You controlled her emotionally. She was exposed to so much at such a young age. The text messages between you two were disgusting to hear. And to think that she had you saved in her phone as a babe for life. Isaiah deserves so much more. And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you were the monster in this whole picture.
Yes, he is.
She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like. Your children deserve more. As much as defense counsel has raised issues on count 1, all that has done is raise the question of fact for the trier of fact, which means that this will be for a jury or a judge to hear at 3rd Circuit. I pray for the healing of all the victims and the young girls and possibly boys who have come into contact with you. As a community, we should look at this case as a prime example of how much work we have to do when it comes to protecting our children and especially our black girls. I pray for closure and healing for all those who have been traumatized by you. And for you, Jarvis Butts, I wish you a speedy trial and that justice be delivered. Your bind-over date is January 16th at 9:05 a.m. Anything else for the record?
No, thank you for your safety.
Do the right thing and tell us where she's at, please. I'm sorry, Judge. Just do it, Jarvis.
Where is she at, Jarvis?
Just tell us. Judge, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect your court.
You all can turn off the cameras, please.
Y'all, when I tell you, this was so sad. I hadn't known about this. I just learned about it a few days ago, and I was debating whether I was going to react to it or not. Being that it was a hearing, I was like, okay, we'll just wait for the trial. So when the trial starts, I would definitely start uploading it, giving you all details as the trial perspire. If you guys want to see the preliminary hearing, I will put the links down below to the news station that was airing it as it was going on live. This is so sad. That little girl was 12 years old, just a baby, and he took advantage of her. Her family wasn't there for her, and like the judge says, yes, everybody, they all let her down. They all let her down. Her mom wasn't in her life. Her dad wasn't in her life. And then the so-called people, I don't even know if they was blood related, because she mentioned adoptive grandmother, but that doesn't mean that they're not blood related. That could have been her dad's mom or her mom's mom that adopted her, because when she said her aunts and stuff, she didn't say her adopted aunts or step aunts, or I don't know how you call it when they're adopted. But regardless, if you took her in, that's a vow for you to take care of her and to treat her as your own. And even if, they're not your own, they're so young. Like, who would allow stuff like this to happen to a young kid? But people do it every day. It's sad. It's very disheartening. And I hope he gets exactly what he deserves. And it was so sad hearing them at the end asking where she is, because to this day, her body still has not been found. I pray to God and I ask God that he put on this man's heart, even though we see he's heartless, because if he wasn't, he wouldn't have been having sex with her or these other young girls, and he definitely wouldn't have killed her. But I do pray to God that he touch him to let them know where she is, where they can recover her body. Again, I'll put the links down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure that if you're not already subscribed to the channel, click the subscribe button. Click that bell notification for all so that you never miss an upload. Share the video, like the video as well. And before we go, like we always say, love, peace, and hair grease. Smooches. Bye-bye.